I remember researching a long time ago, back in the day before any of this, about like how to do a bow drill or anything like that. And this dude, Allan Beauchamp, Bo, they called him Allan Beauchamp, super well known in the survival community back then. I used to read articles by that guy, articles, and that's how I would learn things, not pictures, not video, articles online that were like hard to find, like in black and white, like just text. You know what I mean?
All right, guys, Doug from Pinetree Line Productions, and I'm here with Allan Bow Beauchamp. For a long time, I've wanted to bring somebody on who was an expert in bushcraft, who's an expert on wilderness preparedness, survival skills. Let's learn a little bit more about Mr. Beauchamp. Bo?
I'm grateful to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your, why did you get into bush and loving the outdoors so much?
Well, for me, it started as a kid. I always wanted to be in the outdoors, and I loved exploring, and I liked the adventure of it. But I was always looking for skills to make sure that when I go out there, I can come home safe. Without good skills, you really can't do that. You can go out and play, but at some point you're going to get caught, and I didn't want to be that guy. I did have a few mishaps, and it just reinforced with me that skills are everything. So I spent more time learning skills.
The original reason you went in the bush, as you told me earlier, was to explore. I mean, and I've talked a lot about on the channel about people having that innate feeling of wanting to explore, going around the next corner, over the next mountain, and you talked about that's what kind of brought you into the bush, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I lived in the northern bush when I was growing up, and I was always grateful for the opportunity to have that available to me, to go find these spots, go play, be adventurous, that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much what most kids want to do. Being in the northern bush, I had a lot of bush around me, so pretty much anywhere, any direction I went outside my back door was bush. So I wanted to explore it, wanted to see what was out there.
Now, getting in trouble is what got you more interested in like survival and more bushcraft skills, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, because as much as I was playing out there, I was putting myself in predicaments that I didn't really realize were sometimes mishaps or sometimes life-threatening. So in short order, I realized that I had to have skills. I can't just be out there playing. It's nice to go see what's out there, and we're very fortunate for the country we live in that we have that available to us, and we have that as a freedom. But you really have to have good gear and good skills, and that's something we're going to kind of get into through this whole series.
Absolutely. One of the many other things I want to mention is the fact that some of the people that you've worked with, and one that many people will know is Les Stroud, the Survivorman. How did you get to know Les?
Actually, that was just a chance meeting more than anything. I was watching a program one day on TV, and he was doing his first survival show, first survival outing and stuff, and I watched the show, and I thought, you know what, maybe I could just pass along a few suggestions to this guy. I've been out there quite a bit myself at this point, and that's how it started. I just started emailing the guy, and we started chatting and stuff, and he wanted to link up and stuff, so we linked up, and I got to meet Les, and we did a little bit of work together and stuff, and we had a lot of fun. And it's been many, many years that I've had the opportunity to work with Les. Spent some time with him. I've been a consultant on his show. I've added a few suggestions to his book. I was on one of his shows down in Texas, so I know Les even today. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, you mentioned to me earlier you were just texting with him the other day.
Yeah.
So that's cool to have a relationship with someone like that, and like-minded people, right? You're meeting up with like-minded people. You've also spent time with Morris Kaczynski out west. Tell us more about him. He's a bushcraft legend in Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. Morris is a very smart individual, very talented, got many, many years of good skills, good experience, all based on actually living it. And again, that was just a chance meeting, because in the early 80s, I actually contacted him because I was going to go out and take one of his courses when I heard about him.
Right. This is pre-internet,
yeah,
right?
This is pre-internet.
Not easy.
Stuff. So anyway, so I sourced him out, and I got talking to him and stuff, but it was just too unaffordable for me at that time. I couldn't afford it. So I was teaching courses at Laurentian University at that time for the AWL program. I was teaching the survival program, which I did for about 10 years. And the fellow that was there knew Morse, and they were getting Morse to come in every once in a while to do seminars.
Right.
And it seemed every time Morse was coming in, I either had to work or I was gone, or I always hear about it after and stuff, till eventually I was going to Alaska one time, and I said, you know what, just stop and see the guy. So that's how that all started. So I called up Morse, and we had a chance to visit a little bit. And what started out as a 10-minute meeting turned into like 6.5 hours later, and a couple more trips out to his place, and turned into a really good friend.
So you mentioned that you worked at Laurentian University, and you worked with Gino Ferry, and Gino's known for, he had a show on some years ago. And what was that all about?
Yeah, again, I was teaching at Laurentian University for 10 years, and then they put some tenders out for some other individuals, and Gino happened to be one of them. Gino had actually won the bid out, and afterwards Gino asked me if I'd come in and work with his company teaching the same program. So I agreed to do that, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to work with Gino because I didn't know Gino. Again, it was I seen his show on TV one day, just picked up the phone, good job, blah blah blah. That's how it started. So I worked with Gino for a number of years. I really enjoyed spending time with Gino. Gino again was a very knowledgeable person, an individual again willing to share their experiences and stuff. So that was all added value, you know, and that's something that I tried to walk away with, to say, you know what, there are good people out there, there are good skills, there's real skills out there, people that are just trying to do a good job helping people.
You took a lot of these skills and learning from all these different individuals and sharing ideas with these individuals, and you, pre-internet, you wrote a lot of articles that ended up on other people's websites and other people's magazines, books, what have you. And some people today, such as Joe Robinette, has mentioned you as being someone who's been an influence on him, the stuff he used to read about bushcraft and stuff like that. So at the time, I guess that was really the only way you could get or share some of your knowledge with people, was either teaching them as you were or writing articles. There was no internet, there was no YouTube at that time.
Yeah, I've got one of the very first books that I read on survival. It was like a Boy Scout manual, and I've still got it at home and stuff. And I mean, as good as it was at the time, I mean, there was some missings, but that's up to the individual to go out in the bush and try things, see what works for you in your environment and stuff. And years ago when I started teaching the articles, it was just for money. That's all it was. It was back to, I had a lean pocketbook, and it was maybe, you know, just write an article, make a few dollars.
Right.
And it was actually a company from Texas got a hold of me, which was called Wilderness Way. And they said, you know what, we'll pay you X amount of money if you just write a little article for our magazine. So it was something I never really planned or wanted to do. And it just like, well, if I can make some fast cash for the week, and I can write something up. And,
right.
And that went on for years. That was a lot of fun. And they even bought me my first little camera so I could take pictures and stuff. So it was all good. And to me, that was a important part of survival too, because if I'm going in the bush all the time and I'm learning skills, they're good and they're important to me. But if we don't have these opportunities and we don't share with the individuals and we can't bring them along with us, what will they ever learn? They have to go out and try to walk the exact same trail, hopefully learning the same stuff. So if we can save them steps, if we can jump them ahead a little bit more to make it safer and easier for them, that's really what it's all about. It's about the sharing. So the opportunity to write in the magazine was good because it gave me a chance to make sure that what I'm learning, I'm expressing to people, and I am sharing with people. So it's not all one-sided. It's not all Al goes in the bush and takes something, never gives something back.
Yeah, we've talked a lot, and you're really big on wanting to give back to the anybody that's interested in getting in the outdoors, especially in today's society where a lot of young people aren't getting outdoors and stuff like that. And whether it's fear or just not wanting to do it, you know, a lot of stuff that you're doing is inspiring for young people to get out in the outdoors as well.
Because I remember years ago when I was young, like, I mean, I'm almost 60 years old now and I'm still in the bush doing stuff, but I think back to when I was like 7 and 8 years old in the early 60s, running around the bush and stuff. I mean, I was scared. I was nervous. I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I had no idea. I never had a mentor. I never had YouTube or the greatest survival manual in the world to go to and stuff. I didn't have any of that. Everything I had to do was kind of like, I'll try it, see if I don't get burnt on the stove kind of thing. And that's how I learned. But what I was capable of doing was documenting what I was doing and seeing and saying, okay, this didn't work last time, what can I move forward, what can I, you know, do to make sure that I don't do that same thing again and stuff. And at that point, like, I mean, there wasn't a lot of minutia that I was getting into, but it was putting the pieces together, laying the groundwork to say, you know what, I want to keep moving forward, and I want to keep moving forward safe, so what is it I have to do that? And from each trip I would learn that.
You served for the Canadian Armed Forces for 5 years, and that experience led to kind of how you got into teaching and working with the Canadian Military Special Forces, the most elite of the Canadian Special Forces. You still train those people today?
Yes, absolutely. And again, that just started as chance encounter. My old boss had called me up one day. He was a colonel in charge of a unit, and he asked if I would come out and teach a course for some troopers for one weekend.
Right.
And he said, you know what, I know you do a lot of bush stuff. Would you be willing to do it as like an adventure weekend for us? So I agreed to do it. I think it was more for paying back for all the grief I caused him and stuff. I figured I could clean the slate with this. So that's what happened. So I went. It ended up being a week long. It was a winter course. We went out for a week, and the 1 week course turned into going back for the next 10 years. During that time, I got a call from one of our units in Ottawa, and they had asked if I'd be willing to come out one time to Petawawa teach a course. So I went out the one time to teach a course. That turned into almost 10 years of training them, and then the other special forces called, and I'm still working with them today. And it's funny because what seemed like yesterday has been this year will be the 18th year training the Special Forces.
Wow. And I know you can't say too much about it because it is our Special Forces, and that stuff is kept under wraps in terms of what you're training them. But you did tell me in a previous conversation that some stuff that you teach those guys, you do not teach other people, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, I mean, over the years of training in the bush, I've had the opportunity to see skills on many different levels. So I've kind of broken it down to what I think the average individual will need to stay safe, get them home, keep them out of harm's way, this kind of stuff. But for our tier 1 or tier 2 individuals, I've tried to, the best of the skills that I have in the worst environments, the worst extremes that I've taken it to, try to give them that opportunity to live it, but see the skills and how those skills manifested themselves, to give them that knowledge component that most people wouldn't need, because they're the individuals that we have that are the tip of our spear. I mean, there are Spartans out there. So I mean, they need the absolute best they can have, and they're in the spot where the more information they have gives them the greatest opportunity to come home. So is it for them? It's always going to be for them.
I really want to thank Al for doing this. He's an incredible person who's, you know, wanting to give back to the community. It just so happened that a lot of the stuff that he was doing and learning at the time was pre-internet, so we didn't get to see Al. We heard of him, we read some of his stuff, but we really didn't get to meet him. And one of my goals for this was to really have you and myself meet Bo Beauchamp and the man behind the name kind of thing. So appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Look forward to this continued series, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks for watching, and we look forward to presenting more of Allan Bow Beauchamp. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We also got a website, ptloutdoors.com. Thanks for watching.
I'll see you when I see you.